Hey, I'm Axel from HitFilm, and you may have noticed that I've redecorated my office. It was not by choice, but it takes more than a house fire to shut us down. So in this tutorial, we're going to look at creating a split screen effect in HitFilm Express. We get a lot of questions about this, but it's actually really simple once you know how. So let's take a look.
Okay, so here we are in a HitFilm project with a few video clips imported. The specific video clips used make no difference at all for this process, but I did include a project file showing the results in case you want to look at how they are set up. So you can download that or just create a project and import whatever video you want to work with. As usual, there are several ways this can be accomplished in HitFilm. The basic method we will use involves masks in a composite shot. So right-click your first clip and make composite shot. So here I have these firemen, and perhaps we want to create a split screen showing the aftermath of the fire on one side. So let's drag trusses onto the timeline as well, and then we will use a mask to create the split screen. We can add this clip above or below the first one. The layer order doesn't matter. As long as the mask is applied to the top layer, then the effect works. So I'll put trusses on top, and then select the rectangular mask. Now, drag a rectangular mask over the portion of the clip you want to keep. Reducing the viewer zoom level so you can mask past the edges will help. If the area you want to keep is on the side, then you can just drag from outside of the frame around the part you want, and you're done. If the portion you want to keep is in the middle of the frame, that's fine too. Just drag the mask around it, then switch to the selection tool again, select your layer, and drag it to the side of the frame. If you want to see a different part of the lower clip, you can reposition it as well, so the portion you want to see is visible. So that's it for basic split screen. But what if you want one side to contain multiple clips in sequence? Well, using this same technique, you can add more than one clip below. To do this, make sure that you place the long clip on top that runs the entire running length and apply the mask to it. Then you can just add the other clips below, stacked in the order they should appear, and stagger them to control when each one is visible. That's one way to do it. Here's another way on the editor. Maybe you have several clips sequenced on the editor, like this, and you want to place another clip over them as a split screen. If you film the split screens clip so the portion you want is on one side, then you can just reposition it so only that side is visible. That's a super easy method if you have planned for it before filming. But maybe the footage is already filmed. Then what? That is when we use a sort of hybrid variation of these two methods. Right-click the layer we want to put into our split screen and make it a composite shot. Then add a mask to define the part we want to use. Switch back to the editor, drag that clip onto the second video track above the main sequence, then reposition it on whichever side you want it to be on. You could also reposition the clip inside the composite shot if you preferred. If you don't want a straight down the middle split and prefer to split the screen diagonally or with a curved line, then just use the freehand mask instead of the rectangular mask, and you can create any shape you want. Another variation on split screen that you might wonder about is picture-in-picture. This is easily done on either the editor or in a composite shot. Add the two clips you want to use to the timeline with the picture-in-picture clip on top. Then select that clip, open its transform controls in the controls panel, and reduce its scale however much you like. 25 to 30% is good for most situations, but you can use any value you want. Then reposition the clip into whatever corner you want it in, and you are all set. The editor is usually the best place to handle this, since typically the picture-in-picture will be placed above a sequence of other clips. So using this method allows you to edit your sequence in the usual fashion, then place the picture-in-picture above it very easily. The last option I wanted to mention is the split screen masking effect, which is not included in the free version of HitFilm Express, but can be added by purchasing the starter pack from the HitFilm store. I don't have that pack in the license of HitFilm Express I'm using here, so I will jump over to HitFilm Pro to show you how split screen masking works. But if you purchase the starter pack, the controls are exactly the same in HitFilm Express. So for split screen masking, we can convert our first clip to a composite shot, then just drag in all the other clips we want to use in our split screen panels. Now, add the split screen masking effect to the top layer and you will see a diagonal split running through it. Open the preset menu and try some of the other presets. We have a bunch of typical split screen presets in here, but you can also customize them to create any sort of split screen you want. In the Input Layers frames, you can set which layer is displayed inside of each panel. You can also adjust the scale of the layer, its position within the frame, and use frame shift to adjust the timing of the clip. In the Cuts section, you can adjust the exact positioning and angle of each cut, or customize the number of cuts involved. And in the Border section, you can modify the thickness of the borders between the panels, change their color, or reduce their alpha so you can see through this layer to whatever is below it on the timeline. So, if you do a lot of split screen work, especially with more complex layouts, you can see how much time this effect can save. And it is quite affordable for users of HitFilm Express. But if you just want to stick with the free version, then you can still create excellent split screens quickly and easily. So, thanks for watching, and I hope this answers some of your questions. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and goodbye for now.